Just last week, we were at the Staffing Industry Analysts Executive Forum in Austin, Texas. Now, this one is different than the Healthcare Staffing Forum that we were just at a couple months ago in Boston. So I'm going to give you a recap on what I heard, saw, participated in there, and then got some fun industry news about our industry that came from the conference, and then, of course, just my opinion. Atlas All Access starts now. All right. I was supposed to have a guest this morning. Unfortunately, his child got sick. So I'm going to run through just a couple of notes here that I took while I was at the SIA Executive Forum in Austin. We were there 3 years ago. That was the last time they had it in person, and it was at Austin at the exact same place. It was night and day difference this year versus what it was 3 years ago, specifically if you are in healthcare staffing. It was 3 years ago. We were an afterthought. Our industry, healthcare staffing in general, that includes per diem and locums and allied and nursing and everything, was an afterthought. We were a very, very small percentage of that market. And that first night that we were there, as I looked out over the crowd at the reception hall and saw so many familiar faces from our industry, if we weren't a third, we were definitely a quarter of the that made up the attendees at the conference this year. So really good for our industry. Lots of good industry knowledge too. I would generally go to this one to see what other industries are doing. What does it look like in IT? What does it look like in light industrial or clerical or janitorial? What are they doing there that those companies are doing to set themselves apart? And I got a little bit of that this year, but I got a whole lot of other staffing companies in our industry and what they've been doing just for the couple of months since we met in Boston right before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to give you some quick feedback on a few topics. One, bill rates. We're not alone. The other rates are up in other industries too. So not nearly to the percent that our rates are up. But then when pressed on that, SIA, who follows these rates for all staffing, didn't really necessarily have an answer on what's going to happen to those rates. Are they going to maintain? Are they going to drop a little bit? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, it was a very kind of magic 8-ball, crystal ball sort of thing. Like I heard anywhere from they're going to drop 10 to 15% this year to they're going to stay steady. I even heard one say they're going to go up 5 to 10%. Now, do I believe the last one? I don't know. I think we might have seen the peak already, quite honestly. That is simply my opinion, though. I don't necessarily have any insight into that whatsoever. I can tell you that, and I've said this for a while now, we didn't magically get healthier through all of this. In fact, we may have missed, just the population in general, may have missed key appointments or checkups or whatever along the way because we weren't going out at the time, or you couldn't go to the hospital because there were too many COVID patients there. That was a real thing for a while. So what you're seeing now is OR rates going up, OR admissions going up. PAC then would increase PAC use admissions. Cath lab rates have gone up. The amount of people going in to have cath procedures done have gone up too. We're shifting out of that critical care into the other areas of the hospital that maybe didn't have as much from before. We saw it a little bit last year. We're seeing it again this year. I have a feeling summer is going to really dictate that and drive those different specialties. 2, jobs. Like I said before, we all didn't magically get healthier. People are just going to different parts of the hospital. So the job market is going to shift a little bit, and you'll start seeing this. Now, that doesn't mean critical care and ER jobs are going to go away. That's not the case whatsoever. What'll happen is you're going to see more OR, PACU, cath lab jobs increase. So you're going to see that happening. Just watch into spring through the summer. I have a feeling that's where it's going to be. And some of that was echoed by other industry executives, maybe smarter than me, quite honestly, that were there at the conference. Number 3 was interesting. Remote workers. There were a number of different breakout sessions. So at each one of these conferences, they have a very large room where they have 1 or 2 keynote speakers every hour that, that kind of talk about different subjects. But then there are a number of smaller rooms where you can go watch anyone from any industry talk about any number of different topics. The one overwhelming topic this year that kept popping up over and over and over again was, how do you manage remote workers? Now, all of you are remote anyway, right? You're on the road. You're going to hospitals, right? You're effectively remote, right? You're not in the hospital, obviously. But for someone like myself, who ran a company who kind of embraced the remote model early on, but still had an office and still had recruiters in the office, recruiters, client managers, you name it, in the office every day, and then all of a sudden turning that switch off and sending everybody home and trying to teach someone who has never worked remote before how to live in a remote work environment. My wife has done it for 15 years. She never wants to go back to an office ever again. On the flip side, Braden Boakes, recruiter, hates being at home, needs the noise of the office, wants to be in here every day. I couldn't keep him away from the office, quite honestly, when it was closed. So I'm the same way. I need the noise and the people and all of that. I need to be able to look at somebody and talk to them. And Teams and Zoom obviously just isn't. It's not the same thing. So how do you manage remote staff in a new world? I learned a ton from that. We're going to apply some of that here that we hadn't been doing before. The most honest answer, though, is it should be completely transparent. You as a travel nurse, you as a traveling healthcare professional should never know, is that recruiter remote? Are they in an office? Are they sitting beside a client manager? Are they sitting beside accounting and finance? Are they sitting beside me or Steve or somebody? You should never ever see a difference whatsoever. It should be completely transparent to you. As long as you're getting what you need out of us as an agency, that's what's important. So, and I think that was my biggest takeaway from the remote world piece. Finally, outlook. What's going to happen in the staffing industry? What does this year hold? We Atlas as a company kind of shifted how we plan. We're not planning for a full year anymore. We plan a quarter at a time. And that's something we did deliberately this year, just because we didn't know what was going to happen, and we needed to be able to move quickly if something does change. And that was kind of the sentiment that I heard there multiple times too, is it could be anything. We've got to be prepared for anything, and we are. We just have to be able to move and adjust if things do change. And so it made me feel good about our decision to kind of shift that planning to a more quarterly basis. Some of them are doing monthly, quite honestly. There are some industries out there that meet where the executive team meets every single month, and they plan that next month or the next month after that. And then they come back and they adjust, and then they come back and they adjust again if they have to. So being able, no matter how big you are or how much you grow, being able to adjust and be nimble and agile, those are big fat words, aren't they? But they're super important. And again, you as a traveling healthcare professional should never see any of that. You should always just see you're getting exactly what you need from us when you need it. Which brings me to industry news. My biggest takeaway from the SIA conference this year was the sheer volume that traveling healthcare has increased, and our place in the staffing world as a whole. I'll tell you, these are some real numbers. 3 years ago, when we went to this, traveling healthcare in general was 8% of the total staffing market in the United States. Just 8%. We were a little sliver of the pie when they showed the big pie up on the screen. And this year, 3 years later, through all of this, we are just under 25% of the market. We are like 24.8%. So nearly a quarter of that market is healthcare now. And a couple of my peers on stage said this, and it rubbed me the wrong way at first, but then I got it. They said they had heard, from other industries, healthcare's here for now. I don't think we're going anywhere. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It is what it is. Hospitals who never, ever use travelers at a rate that they're using travelers now, or if at all, are very used to it now. And the feedback that we get across the board is, this is the way we want to do it. Like this, not only does it save them money to use temporary staff, but it makes their staffing life a ton easier. We've been saying that for 20 years. It just took us a while to catch up to that. So from 8% to 24% in 3 months, that's not too bad. And it's a testament to the work you guys do every single day. Which brings me to, and this one's going to be fun, just my opinion. Nurses Week is coming up early May. I believe it's the second week in May. Matt Lawhorn will be able to tell me exactly when Nurses Week is. I believe it's the second week in May. So we've already started our preparations for it. We've got an awesome Nurses Week gift that we'll be sending out to all of our active travelers that I've seen a proof on. I haven't actually seen the actual product yet. And then I know we are working on a card for that as well. So and this might be getting me in some trouble, and that's okay, because it rubs me the wrong way every single time I hear it. And it's one of the things that I've told Dolan, Nathan, Ashley, Gary, if they're filming something, the phrase that our recruiters are absolutely not allowed to use, recruiters or anybody here at Atlas, not allowed to use, because it's so amazingly lazy, is thank you for everything you do. That is the most lazy possible thing you could say to someone else to thank them. You're not thanking them. You're just trying to get off of camera, quite honestly. It just, be specific about it. And we've done that for a number of years now. And I know somebody could go through. There's been a few that slipped through. Trust me, I've seen them. I haven't been happy about them, but they've slipped through. Be specific. Thank you for taking care of my grandma when she was in the hospital. Thank you for caring so much about the families of the patients in the hospital. Thank you for, there's any number of things that we on this side of the desk are thankful for, that traveling healthcare professionals, nurses, doctors, you name it, do every single day. And just to say, thank you for everything you do, is one of the most amazingly lazy things to say. Watch That's Coming. You'll see it. I see it all the time, and I think, man, if that was us, I would be pissed. I'd be mad. There's so much more to it on our end. The gratitude on our end is so much more than just everything you do. Get out of here with that. That's just my opinion. All right, let's see if that causes some waves, Nathan. Maybe. He's smiling back there. All right, so next couple weeks, got some fun stuff coming up. We will talk more about Nurses Week as that gets closer. Tons of other fun industry news, too. Our industry is changing, and there are shifts in the market happening for sure. If you like any of that, if you like the number side whatsoever, I'm really, really good at big picture numbers. I like macroeconomics. The microeconomic part, it hurts my head. The macro, the theory behind it is the part I really, really enjoy. You can go read American Mobile and Cross Country's quarterly earnings statements, because they're publicly traded companies. You can go read them every quarter. You can listen to their earnings conference calls, and you can read their quarterly statements, their quarterly earnings. That's some fun stuff. And fun. I think it's fun. I think from a business standpoint, it's fun. But I've talked to a number of travelers out there that have a very business mind too, that really want to know that kind of stuff. If you're not reading those every quarter, go read those. There's a lot of fun stuff there. Anyway, they allude to a lot of stuff coming in the industry and how our industry might look as the year goes on. So if you want a little bit of insight into what the big boys are saying, the ones that are publicly traded. AMN and Cross Country report earnings every single quarter. Go to Yahoo Finance, go to MSNBC, go to CNBC. You'll be able to find those right there. Just type in their ticker symbol, and you'll be able to find it. Like I said, I'm going to keep doing this. I love doing this. This is a fun part of my job every week. I love sitting down at this and talking through these kinds of things. So come back here every 2 weeks. We'll have a new topic. I'll have a guest maybe next time. We'll see you next time.